I'm going to teach you guys how to make cubes. So because we're learning about form, and it is one of the 7 elements of art, we are going to create our own forms. So we're doing geometric forms, in this case, cubes. So you can see right now I have 2 shapes, kind of interesting shapes. I would say it looks kind of like a cross or a lowercase letter T. So I'm going to teach you in this video how to create this part of it. And then in the next video, I'll show you how to put these together to turn the shape into the geometric form cube. The first thing you need, if you want the baby one, you'll need a lined paper. If you want the bigger one, you do need to do this on printer paper. You can follow the same directions regardless of which one you do. See if I can find some clean lined paper here. So, got my lined paper. Now the first thing I need to do is make my lined paper into a square, a little square. So in order to do that, I have it in front of me, tall. This is called portrait style, tall. I'm going to take the corner, see if I can make this a little further for you. Okay, I'm going to take this top right corner and I'm going to fold it over so the top edge here lines up with this side here. There should end up being about a 4-finger space down below. So if you take this, now I keep playing with it and lining it up to make sure this edge is lined up together. So I'm not lining up the corner to corner because then that would look like this, and that's wrong. I'm lining it up so this top edge is lined up with this side to about 4 fingers from the bottom. If you put your fingers there, sometimes that can help you measure. Now I do not crease it until I know that it's lined up. So I kind of take some time, wiggle it around until you make sure it's very lined up across there. Now I can see it's lined up, it looks really nice. Now I crease it. And then I'm ending up, here's this rectangle at the bottom that I end up with. It's about 4 fingers, maybe a little more depending on the size of your hands. Now I'm going to trace along this folded edge here, or this triangle side, I guess I should say. Okay. And open it up and cut. Cut very carefully, so as straight as you can. You need to go nice and slow to make sure your scissors aren't crooked like this while you cut, or like this. Really stay on that line. Okay. Once you're done, we need to make an even tinier square. Lots of steps to make our tiny square. So what you're going to do is the same thing. So you put it in front of you, tall in front of your body. It's called portrait style. You're going to take the top corner and you're going to fold it so this top edge it's called flush. It's flush, meaning it's perfectly lined up. There's no like bumps out like this or like bumps in like that. It's flush with the side edge. They are lined up. Don't push it down until you make sure it's lined up all the way up to the corner. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to make sure it's really perfectly lined up before you push it. Mine wasn't quite right. Here we go. Once you've got it, crease it down, draw your line, and cut on the line that you did. Again, very carefully. Okay. Now you're left with a square. Now I still need to make it smaller to make it like a large dice size. So now in order to make this square into a smaller square, we're going to fold it side to side. So before we folded it corners, now I'm going to deal with the side here and fold it to the side over there. So I'm going to take it and fold it over. Make sure the sides are nice and lined up. Crease it. Open it up. So I've got a line. I'm just drawing right on the fold that I made so that you guys can see it a little better. Okay, so that was where I folded it. Now I need one that goes the other direction. So I fold it the opposite way. To create kind of like a plus sign of folds. So if I draw now on the other fold I just made, you'll see the plus sign. Now, if I cut this up, I'm going to have 4 small squares. Fix my light for you guys here. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to cut right on the lines I drew, or right on the folds you made. Now you don't need 4 squares, you technically just need the 1. So after I've cut that much, I've got 1, I'm just going to save 1 and put this off to the side. And I am going to save these just in case I lose this one. So I just put them off to the side somewhere safe. Now what you're going to do is take another piece of lined paper. And you're going to put it on your lined paper. Make sure you leave a little space at the top. So you can see I got about a pencil width space here at the top. But I try to put the square kind of right in the center. Make sure it's nice and straight. Could even to make sure it's nice and straight. See how I've lined up the lines of the square with the lines on the paper? That's one way, one trick to knowing it's nice and straight. Then you're going to trace around your square. All the way around, all 4 sides. When you're done, you're going to move the square down and you're going to line up the top of the square with the bottom line of the last square you drew. Line it up right next to it. There should be no space in between. Make sure again it's nice and straight, and then trace it again. And you're going to do this 4 times, so I do it again. And if I'm going too fast for you, just pause and then play when you're ready. I'm going to clean up my lines later, so I'm going a little fast, but and one more time. So 4 times total. 1, 2, 3, and this is my 4th. So now we have the center of our cross, or our T, right? Now we need the 2 arms here, one on either side. We refer to them as arms because they come off of a main body, a main part. So I'm going to go down to the second one down, and I'm going to put this here, line it up right along that side, and then trace it. Same thing on the other side of that same square, the second one down. Line it up, So there's no space between them. And then you trace it. When you're done, if you have like a straight edge just means like an edge that's straight. So for example, I could use this pencil box. It has a straight edge. Rulers work the best, but if you don't have a ruler at home, just find something else, pencil box, a notebook, the edge of a hard-covered book, something. And then I line it up, and I really make sure that my edges of my cross are nice and straight, going all the way down. So I was a little messy with them before. Notice I'm holding my ruler like this, so my hand is spread, not like this. If you hold a ruler like this and you try to draw a line, what happens? Oops, right? Because you have nothing braced up here at the top. You have to spread your hand out, brace the top of the ruler and the bottom. And this is just a 6-inch ruler, so this is shorter than a normal one, but regardless, I'll still always brace in the middle of a ruler. There's a little trick for you if you've ever struggled with using a ruler. Okay. Now, we can see by my finished one that this one almost looks like this one. It's just that it's missing these little things on the side, these little flaps. The technical term for these in paper sculpting are tabs. A tab is an extra little piece coming off of the main shape that you end up folding. And the point of the tab is that that's the part that you use to connect it to another part. So basically that tab will end up connecting to the bottom, and that's going to help us start to make our cube. Okay? So tabs. To do your tabs, you're drawing, I think they're called trapezoids. So you're going to draw a diagonal line from the corner of the square going in. You can think of it as though you're starting to draw a triangle, but you cut it off at the base. So I cut it off down here so that it ends up just looking like that. So we don't need that top part. Okay, so on the very top of the cross, you are going to draw 3 tabs, one at the very top, one on the left, one on the right. The arms don't have any tabs. So this one here and this one here, you leave blank, no tabs. This one and this one get tabs on the left-hand side of the square and the right-hand side of the square. I like to draw little V's here, like the letter V. And then in like I'm drawing a triangle, right? But I'm going to cut it off. In. And there you have it. Now you just cut it off. When you cut it off, you want to cut around the tabs too. So see how this final piece has all the tabs attached? So don't cut anything inside the outermost line. You're only cutting around the very, very outermost edge, so you end up with a cross looking like this. So here I am, I'm making sure I'm cutting around the tabs so they stay attached to my cross shape. Again, if you're maybe not as good at cutting as I am, you might want to go slower, more carefully, because you really need to make sure your lines are straight and follow the squares or the tabs. And there you have it. So that is how to create the shape, cross shape, before we turn it into a cube.